PC Cortina City, and welcome to another video. It's a Friday outing, this one, and on this video we've got Papa KP. We call it KP because the reg has got KP in it. We call it Papa because the old reg used to have PAA. So that's the brown L spec Mark III Cortina. We've got some work to do on that car in this video, folks. You might wonder why I'm wearing shades, to blank out the pain. But the shades will have to come off so I can read Commercial Motor magazine. More about that in a minute. So KP then was burning oil pretty bad, such that you go on a couple of hours run on the motorway and woof, you got a low oil situation and it really smelt bad. What was happening with KP is the engine, that 2 litre Pinto that I put it in as is. It came out of one of my cars I dragged out of a hedge called Bramble. Initially the engine seemed really good, but it was a problem with the stem seals. They were really toasted, and you'll see that on these videos. So this video will help you if you've got a Mark III Cortina. It's going to help you to do a stem seal swap on your Pinto engine, be it 1600, 2 litre, or even maybe the rare 1300, who knows. But anyway, we take the head off and we do those stem seals, and I'll talk you through that on this video that's coming up. It needed to be done because it was burning smoke on start-up, burning smoke when you're standing at traffic lights, so idle. It really smelt bad. You change oil and after a few thousand miles that lovely golden oil had become black and contaminated. And I did notice the oil pressure was low for the engine, which led me to believe it might have been the rings as well with that low pressure, or the crank shells were worn or whatever. So it needed to be inspected. Did no harm to take the head off. So we took the head off and I found that the spray bar, spray liberally, the spray bar bolt had come off, so it was weeping out of the centre tower. You'll see that on the vid, you'll see what I mean. That was causing an oil pressure drop. Anyway, it all went back together very nicely. The car's running a lot better, and you'll see that coming up. So enjoy this video tonight for stem seals and a bit of a tune-up on the Krypton machine that's just to my right there. I'll show you that before we go. Krypton machine, you'll see the car going onto the unit and how we connect up to the Krypton. It's really clever how the Krypton works. You can use it to diagnose bad spark plugs, bad HT leads, a bad dwell angle, your cranking volts, your coil, your volts across your coil to detect for bad ballast resistors or bad coils. It does many tests quickly, and of course whilst you can do all those tests on your car with individual tools, the reason that they had Krypton machines was to get cars turned around in garages pretty quickly. So it was really a money-making machine, because time, of course, is cash. It's big TE cash, okay? So we go on to the Krypton, we do the tune-up, we check the vac pressure, the PCV valve, all sorts. It's great for that. I might not take you across, but you'll see the machine coming up, and you'll have seen it on other PC videos. Of course, we've got a hardcore base of fans which always tune in, so we normally get a couple of thousand views per film. I'd like to see that up to about 5,000 views per film, so we really need to be pushing the channel a bit more. It's quietened off a little bit, to be fair. So enjoy the stem seal operation on a Pinto that's coming up. Mentioned Commercial Motor before, so let's have a look. I did some skip raiding. And someone was throwing out a load of Commercial Motor magazines. I wish, I took the whole lot. I took a handful. Do you know what? I wish I took them all, because someone who's into the buses and trucks would just be going crazy over something like this. So this is Commercial Motor, a show number, so I presume we must have a show here going on Friday, September 20, 1968. Look at that. So on the back, we put more in, so you get more out. Look at this. Okay. We put more in, so you get more out. Lucas, Britain's best battery. And that's only the start, folks. Lucas heavy duty batteries are guaranteed for 2 years. But that doesn't stop them giving peak performance for longer periods. Remember that for Lucas. Joseph Lucas Batteries Limited in Birmingham 11. And that's got the minis on there on a truck. Can you ID the truck? It looks like a Bedford truck to me. Can you ID the truck? So great for history, these magazines. And we've done, you might have seen, a good few years ago now, I did a catalogue, a 1976 catalogue review. That was great. And you name it and we build it. The Arlington detachable body, Arlington light alloy tippers. And you can see them on stand number 80. Well, this is great. This is a show edition. And look, we've got a pump, an advert for a pump here, a petrol pump, Gilbarco. I have heard of those for pumps, so Gilbarco pumps then. Nice little unit, isn't it? That look good in your living room. This is just great for, I mean, okay, I'm not into me trucks, but there's some interesting little adverts in here that I'm looking through. What we got there, Churchill and Company Diagnostics. I wonder if we'd see a Krypton advert in here. Wade for engines. This is good because it's very early. There's not going to be any Cortina Mark III's in here, but I think we even get some colour picks. So if someone's into the trucks and they want to get out another First by Foden, new metal half cab, hydraulically mounted. So it is a show edition because it's giving you the stands for each company. Beautiful, in good condition this, and look what's coming out. Have we lost some pages? Oh, it's gone. It's gone. It's just gone. Have we lost some pages? Is it breaking down? Yeah, it's breaking down. Put that back in there. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy reading this. That's nice. Look at that. Like a nice little poster. That's a lovely little drawing with some trucks. Thompson, John Thompson, total transport capability. Look at this. The days of BP and Shell tanker truck. Oh, I'll bring this right up to your screen, see what goodies this has got. Great. And what just popped out then, we'll leave that for now. Some great stuff in there. What popped out then, this is a beautiful little, this must be an inlaid brochure. And now new extra safety for 1969. Look, this is the Supervan, folks. So we've kept it forward. Let's put that to one side. We're coming up with the stem seal film. Don't worry, it's coming up. But look, Supervan. It's that good. I'm bringing you right up to the screen for the Supervan. The Mark 1. Gary Noggy's going to love this. One for Gary. I must have missed this. I mean, I just gave Gary some stuff out of Commercial Motor, not this edition. I didn't see this. Look at that. Freeze frame your screen, folks. Beautiful. Oh, Supervan. So what was Supervan then? Is this an inlay? Whoa, it's a gatefold! I got carried away then. It's a gatefold. I can't believe it. And I've lost it. Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Right, what happened then? I was just saying it's a gatefold and the camera cut off. Let's try again. Look. It's a gatefold, folks. Camera's just cut off. Full on transit action. Beautiful. Wow. This one's framing. Supervan yesterday and tomorrow. October 6, 1965. That was the day we brought out the Ford Transit. The day all other vans suddenly became old-fashioned. Wow. What about Supervan for 69? Well, there's a lot more yet. Improved sliding doors, anti-theft locks on the sliding windows, tubular rubber strips on the rear doors for better sealing. Whoa. But even more important, there are no less than 23 extra safety features. This is Supervan. Transit 69. Supervan Access, Supervan Space, Supervan Choice, Supervan Comfort, Supervan Power. No other van gives you such an engine choice as the Transit. A 4 petrol, 1 diesel from 52 to 93 horsepower. Lovely. And you get, yep, so piano key switches, 4-way emergency flasher, recessed door pulls for extra safety, fascia crash pad, emergency flashers, specs. Here's the specs, what we've got on the engine, folks. 1.7 litre 4-cylinder inline overhead valve engine. So that's the engine petrol. Sorry, engine petrol 1.7 litre V4 overhead valve, a 2 litre V4 overhead valve. Wow, on the long wheelbase models. But there's the specs on that. If you were a Transit fan, any Transit fans out there, or anyone who's watches Cortina City who knows anyone who's into the Transits, then I've got this. It's beautiful. I can copy it for you. If no one's ever got this in the Transit clubs, I can do a photocopy of this. It's a shame to frame it because you'd lose all that stuff on the back, but we can copy that side and copy that side for a bit of history. That's beautiful. Really is nice for super van. So anyway, I digress. We're back to where we started from. This is a long way of saying it's time to do some stem seals. Welcome to tonight's video, PC Cortina City. Enjoy the film. And thanks for the super chats. And a shout out to Alistair, who I saw at the junction 27 of the M6 the other day. He pulled up alongside me. Alistair, if you remember seeing me there, I was in the silver car in Bramble. So a big shout out to you. Thanks for saying hello. We see these YouTubers all over the place. Enjoy the film. PC signing out. Roll it. Let's do them stem seals. Good morning from PC Cortina City, and Papa is going on the operating table because of the wonderful things that he does. But he smokes from the valve stem seals, I suspect. Leave the car idling and you get blue smoke. Go on a bit of a run, smoke goes away. Vacuum gauge says the rings are good, so I can only presume that we've got some very bad stem seals on the cylinder head of this car, so we're going to have to wheel it in. And that means coming to the garage, folks. Cortina City. Let's get into the warm winters here. We've got, where we left off with the Gibraltar trip, a damaged flex plate on Tina G. Up on axle stands because I pinched her wheels for Ruby, so Ruby could do the Gibraltar trip. So Ruby's old wheels go on this for now. I would normally be doing the flex plate on this if I could find it once I get one laser cut. I have had one laser cut, but I'm hesitant to fit it because it's of mild steel, and people have said, is that really the right material to be using? So we're unsure. I would like to get chomping away into this and get this back on the road quickly. And yeah, I've just got to decide the flex plate situation. Do I try and wait for an original Ford one? Do I go laser cut? Do I take the chance and fit the mild steel one that I've had already done? Don't know. However, Papa's a daily driver at the moment, and it's smoking, it stinks. The engine, it just smells horrible. So I can only presume that on Papa, the stem seals are so bad that it's burning and coming up through the rocker cover, even though we've got a good PCV valve, positive crankcase ventilation system running. It's just smelling, it's burning oil, something's not right. Now, other than take the engine out for a rebuild, my last hope with Papa is just to try the stem seals to see if that stops the smelly engine. It's worth a try. It's an afternoon's job to pull the head off, put the head on the bench and put some new stem seals on there. I've got some Victor Reams ones, so we can do that. It means first though, getting this out, putting the wheels on it, and then we'll have to handball it out, push it out for now, and get Papa in here, and let's get on with this. A job, yeah, I suppose I don't mind doing it. I'm tooled up to do it, got all the stuff to do it, drop the water, get all the hoses off, disconnect the carburetor, undo the exhaust manifold, leave it bolted to the exhaust downpipe, unbolt the head. We'll take the cam belt off, usual stuff. Then have to time it all back up when we put it back together. Cam belt's new, so we'll leave that on. It's got to be done. So Tina really would like to be doing this now, but I say the flex plate situation's preventing me from doing that. So yeah, I shall now roll Papa in, folks. Let's get this out. Let's get on with it. It's got to be done. Otherwise I'll be questioning them stem seals on Papa forever. I'd like to see them. I'd like to show you how bad they are. I think they're really bad. So let's have a look. Right, let's get right into this. Just start pulling it to bits, get the head off, and I'll show you those very bad, more than likely anyway, stem seals. Let's go. Start with getting the air clean off. See how long this takes. It's now 11:30, so I reckon 4 hours. Half 11, half 12, half 1, so maybe half 3. Should be done. 4 hours. Hopefully, or a whole day, who knows. Off we go. We're on our way, folks. Stripping down. Stripping down, we're on our way. Did a good job of sealing this. Come on. Okay, lay these out in order, these head bolts, and get the head off. Okay, we're ready. This is the back breaker. Wonder how mucky the pistons will be, the crowns of the pistons and everything else. Oh, you just got to watch your back on this now, because this is where it gets you back. It's a very awkward lifting angle on your back. I'll try and sort of manoeuvre it round a bit. I think I've got all the cables off. Now, I'm careful how I lift this now. But I think everything's off. Oh, I've got it. You've got to be so careful though. Whew. Right, there we are. Let's have an inspection of this bad boy. Before we do, actually not as bad as I thought. That one's a bit crusty, but it's not bad. What's the wear like? It feels okay. She looks in good order, that engine. Check the spark plugs in a minute, but yeah, they're alright. We'll clean those up. Okay, the head itself then. Don't know yet. We need to get rid of all this oil. We want it to be clean. So we're going to go mopping up really now. And then we'll get on and change these stem seals. I can't see them at the moment. Well, they are in there. You just see one peeking through. We've got to get the rocker gear off. Cam lobes, a little bit scored. It's not shiny on the cam lobes. That one is. They're not scored deeply though. Okay, it's looking reasonable. Let me get on with this. What we're going to do next, we're going to get all the oil off it. And then, let me see, get all the oil off it. Take that off. Take that off. Stuck on. Okay, I've got most of the gunk I can out of this side. There's a lot of white deposits built up on the on some of the valves. Hang on, but yeah, there's just a lot of build up. So cleaning it up the best that I can. I'm going to flip it over now and do the stem seal. So basically, just gone over that with the. What did we use? We used our friendly grinder with that on. We used a flat sander just to skim it. It's cleaned up and degunked the best I can do. A little bit more on those valves. I mean, we could lap the valves in. Everyone's going to say, aren't you not lapping the valves in? Don't know yet. I'll let you know. See at the city, and you will see Papa's head, KP's head, off and clean. So I've degreased that and blasted it back just so I'm working with clean metal. You can see what I'm doing then. So everything's back and clean, and then I've also, to bring the torch across to you, cleaned up the block. I'm feeling the cylinder walls. I don't feel any appreciable wear at all. I can still see a little bit of cross hatching, so this engine's in good order. From what we can see, that is not scored or anything, so that looks all right. Over to the head then. There is some light wear marks on the cam, but even the cam looks okay. What I did notice is the spray bar liberally has got its bolt missing here. So that would have been getting poor oil pressure through that. It would have just about done it, but lucky escape. We're going to find a bolt, so there's a bolt come off on the spray bar. That wouldn't have been very good. Well, it hasn't been very good. That'll have been giving it starvation. That could have blown the whole cam. Luckily, looks like we've got away with it, but a bolt missing out of there, no idea why that is. I've not been in here, I don't think, so don't blame me. Whoever's had this engine built, perhaps. I don't know. I'll go back on my videos and just see. I don't think I've had that spray bar off, or have I? I don't think so. It is possible, but anyway, torch this way round then, and then you can see here we've got a valve spring compressor on, taken the valve out using the valve spring compressor. Here's the spring compressor if you've not seen it before. It's a sort of squashy device that squeezes down on the top of the spring there and allows you to remove these little collets here, which lock the valve in place on the spring under tension with that valve spring cap there. So I'm going to adjust the strobe, by the way. We've got strobing going on. We don't want that. So yeah, here we are, and here's the culprit. This is the stem seal, and it's completely solid, so there's no suppleness in the rubber, so that has not been stopping the oil from sliding down the shaft of this valve and getting burned inside the engine. You can see these valves have been burning oil. They're not too bad, but this is a big problem for the engine because these should be supple and should just pop off. That's gone now. Let me get it in my hand. It's just solid. It's just like a solid piece of plastic, that, so we had no chance. Those were well gone. Completely solid. It should be squishy rubber that sort of grips the shaft like this, stopping oil getting down and dribbling down into the engine. So that's been a problem for this engine. So we're going to get some new ones on. I'm going to go one at a time. I'll do a valve and the clearances one at a time. We'll go along. So we've got 16 to do. No, 8 to do. Not too bad. 8 valve stem seals to do on Papa. Then we've got to reassemble the whole affair. So once all that's done, I'm not going to take you through this because we've done it on the Tina G engine build. Exactly the same procedure. Set your valve clearances using the feeler gauges. 0.25 for the exhaust, 0.2 for the inlet. You go along and you set your valve clearances, you fit your stem seals. It's been covered on the Tina G to Gibraltar road trip video, getting the engine prepped ready. That's been covered. So down we go, and here we have the engine. Closer inspection for you. If I just get a cloth, hold on, let's just get something nice and feel. Here we go. Let's just see what this feels like and what it looks like to you at home, so you can make your assessments. Move that 19 out of the way. Right, let's have a little look, Ski. There we go, bring you in now. What do you think, folks at home, of that cylinder? Trying to get your light in the best place for you. Let's try a directional light, in case that helps a bit better. To me, it looks good. I don't know what you think. Let's get you even closer. Try and get the angle that you might require. There you go. I can dip you into the other cylinder wall. See if we can get you what you might want. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking it looks good. There's nothing at all. So I think that's good. So right, so what we're going to do, we're going to go along and do each stem seal. I've got these Victor? What are you on about? Victor Eames ones, they're quite nice. I'll find them, they're in here somewhere. New stem seals in a bag. Could these be them? Nope. Yes, no. We've got them somewhere anyway. These are stem seals, but they're not the ones we want. Looking for the Victor ones, they're slightly better made. I shall find them in there. And then just a little bit of Loctite on there. Just locks the bottom of the stem seal, so we'll clean that up. I have fitted like Chinatown ones, or ones that have come with manifold kits, you know, gasket kits, and they've just been sort of generic ones, and they've been rubbish. They've lasted about a week and then gone hard. In fact, Tina G's, that's what happened. So we fitted the top hat ones on Tina G's. There's 2 types. Here's another set with a few sets here. These are Chinatown ones, I think. These look rubbish. These aren't. I haven't even got springs on those. Look how bad they are. They're nasty. They're not right. They're not right. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I find them stem seals and we get fitting and we follow the procedure that we did. Then I'll jump to you. I've cleaned this up. New head gasket on, and then we are looking at putting it all back together again. So a day's work. I'll keep on cracking on. It'll probably jump to us starting to put this back together. I'll race through this now and get these fitted. The cam's survived. We need a bolt for that middle spray bar. Right. liberally. That could have gone wrong, but I think we got away with it. Alright, Pete's seat the controls, putting it all back together. We were right. Stem seals were knackered. Just in case anyone's wondering, hang on, ear defenders off. I am cleaning the valves as I go. Don't worry about that. We're cleaning the valves as we go. We're on the second one now. There's the new stem seal on. Just use a 12 open-ended spanner to tap it down. These have a metal collar on them, these Victorines seals. So you tap them down. They've got a nice collar. They're a lot better. We've found them and here they are. Part code for you at home, 12-24491-02 for your Victorines. Standard Pinto seals. You can get the top hat ones. Look that up, they're a better fit. These are okay, but the top hat ones and performance ones that are held down with the spring itself, they have a top hat, if you will, the CVH ones, and they fit inside that machine face. We haven't got any in stock. These are adequate. We'll carry on fitting. A little bit of light oil on before we insert the valve, just so that the rubber doesn't chafe. So the shaft of the valve, get some just engine oil on it, as then we push it back up and set the clearances and put the followers back on. Followers so far are all good. There's no scoring, so it looks like we're okay. Cam and followers are going to be fine on this all the way through. 7 to go, folks. Just while we're on about halfway through, just showing you these collets going on. So the valve spring compressor's crushing down on that valve spring, picks it up from the bottom there, and then you can just feed in these little collets. All done by hand actually. You can wobble it a little bit just to get the collets to seat. Take that light off, it's a little bit harsh there, that light. And then what we do, release this. I can't do it with one hand, but release that and spring goes back up, and then these collets then grip inside and lock on like this one. Okay, so carrying on going through there on the bench with 2 blocks of wood. Okay, everything's done there, all put back together, and all the clearances on the valves are set. We've just got to put a bolt on for that spray bar, and then using our pegs here, you just put these locating dowels rather in, new gasket on, and then just wire brushed up and clean the piston crowns, and the bores, as I said, are good. So that's ready to receive the head now, once we just fit a little bolt into that naughty outlet there. Okay, I'm torquing up with a torque up sheet. I keep that. It's easier than keep getting out the book. So I'm on 65 to 79, 7, 8, I'm up the front, 9, I'm nearly done, 10 at the top, and then that's the head bolted back on, and then we've just got to maybe go over them when it's warmed up. I'm going to check this spray back spray liberally and make sure that's working alright once we crank it up. Next job, I'm going to put on the cam belt. So I'm going to pre-tension up the cam belt idler wheel. That's done for now, and I'll get the cam belt on, get the engine at top dead centre, check this is lined up on the mountain and the moon indicator on the front. If you don't know what that is, previous videos. This sprocket here at the top has a pointed dial on it and a dot stamped into the casing, the head. You'll line this sprocket up at the front with this little pointer. You'll see that on previous vids on the Tina G road trip rebuild vids. You make sure your engine's at TDC, put the belt on, release the tensioner and tighten it up, spin it round once, then lock the tensioner. We'll do that next. May as well refresh ourselves. Engine at top dead centre, you might just be able to see the marker. There's a, let's have a look where you are, different than my eyes. Just on that hose clip. to the right of the hose clip. You can just see the top dead center marker there. So the engine is set on the TDC marker. The camshaft has got this little dot just in there. There's a metal arrow, they call that mounting, and there's a dot stamped into the head. They have to line up, and then the rotor arm here has to point at spark plug number 1. So you've marked spark plug number 1 on your dizzy cap. Put the dizzy cap on, and that should be pointing to plug lead 1. If it isn't exactly on plug lead 1, with the cam belt off, you can now just turn the sprocket wheel, the auxiliary sprocket wheel, because the cam belt's off, and just get it to be exactly on 1. So you've got that distributor arm, dizzy cap arm pointing at plug 1. You've got that mountain and moon, the metal spike indicator pointing at the stamped dot in the head of the cylinder head, and you've got your engine at TDC, and that is it. As long as the cam belt goes on and nothing moves, then that's timed more or less. You then have to just slightly time your engine up, but it gives you the range to do it, and that's the ballpark. It won't be the right timing like that for the perfect one. It'll work and it'll run, but to get it exactly right, you want to go for about 8 degrees. So that's 0, so you do have to spin it in then to get it exactly right, but it'll start the engine and get you going. Right, so I'm going to put the cam belt on. I've pushed this tensioner wheel in, and then you lock it with a 30mm bolt so it can't spring back out. Basically, it's sprung out on this spring, so what you do, you get a lever bar like this, and you lever it back, then lock it back under tension. So that's if I undo that 30mm bolt, the wheel will fly out under tension. The idea is get your belt on, then release it, and the wheel then locks into the belt. You spin round once on a 19mm spanner, then tighten it all up. You tighten both. That star drive, you might have a bolt there, some star drive, and then the locking bolt. There's 2 bolts on that tensioner wheel. The pivot bolt that it actually pivots on, which also has the spring, and the secure locking bolt. 2 fixings on it. You've got to tighten them both up. Okay, I've let the tension off on the belt after rotating the engine a few times to let the belt just bed in, then release the tensioner wheel, then lock it in place. Half a twist on the belt, you should get no more than that. When you twist on the cam belt, you should be able to twist it just over half. Feels tightened up, everything's locked in place. Next thing I'm going to do is check we're getting an oil feed through. So I've put some cam lube on there. That's just like a lubricant, pre-lubricant. In this case, it's probably not as necessary. I'm going to crank the engine to check the oil comes out the spray bar. Spray liberally, folks. I would do if I had the keys back in the house to get the keys. We'll be right back. Keys. It'll take a while to get this through. I'll just wind the window down. I'm going to crank it, and I'll try and look through the window. Okay, there you are. And then let's see if the spray bar is working all right. Here we go. Sparking like a troop. I'm going to have to watch out there's no petrol locking around. You can see oil, and it's horrible oil. Tell you what, that's sparking like hell. Woo, that's a loud spark. Wherever that was coming from. God, it must have been jumping straight out of the coil. I wonder if you saw that. I could hear it cracking. Must have been cracking out of there. Petrol all over the place. Careful, folks. Fire extinguisher at the ready. That's the carburettor. That oil's disgusting. And that's been changed plenty of times, that oil. It shows you that because the oil's so bad, sorry, because there was so much contamination from the valve stem seals being faulty. It kept contaminating the oil, and it gives it a really horrible smell as well. This is really fresh. That's only a few thousand miles on that. It's horrible smelling oil. But all the spray bar is working okay. From what I can see, it does leak round the junction of it. Let me just see how much that does leak. Because I never really know if that's supposed to have a rubber washer on there. I'll just stick my head in quick. No, it's just drilling down off the bar itself. That's okay. Right, I'm happy with that. Not happy with the oil quality. Obviously, after all this work, we're going to change that. Alright, so that's okay. Got to watch the petrol. We're dribbling petrol out, so we don't want to do any more than what we've just done there. So, what I'll do, I'll spin the engine into TDC again with the spark plug rotor at position 1 and just check that it's doubly timed up. Next job, I think, fit the carburetor back on. I'll just go over the lock nuts of the God, I'm struggling to find my words today. The lock nuts of the stem seal, the camshaft stem seals, make sure they're locked. While we've got a chance. That one needed a nip up actually then. That one's okay. You can get to these easy when it's like this. Okay, little nips on these. Just to do it, make sure. We've done all the clearances, but just to make sure. This is quite good. So that is a Draper crow's foot for doing the valve clearances. Not a bad one. Okay, I've got my trusty carburetor spanner that I made myself. It helps you get into this bolt at the back here, look. That's tricky to get to without a spanner that's shaped like this. I think I can now fit the carburetor. I don't see why not. I should have put the rocker cover on first, then carb. I think I'll put the rocker cover on. So rocker cover gasket. That one's soaking in oil. I've got a cork one going on. I've cleaned the face of this really well, and I've cleaned the rocker cover itself. I think I'll bolt the exhaust on actually. Exhaust manifold this side to go on. We'll do that next. Rocker cover can go. Just going to clean and re-gap the plugs. And clean them. Talking about cleaning, clean the blooming lens. Woo! Clean and re-gap the plugs. So I'll use my little re-gapping disc. These are handy. Nice little disc that sets the depth for the gap. It's got a scale marked on it, so you just put it between the electrode and off you go. You can set the depth, twist it to widen it up, tap it to close it in. Yep, spark plugs were new. Obviously they're fouled up with the stem seals burning all that oil, you can see. So we'll clean these the best we can, then gap them up. Okay folks, everything is back together. I think that is it. Carburetor is on, 4 bolts holding the carb. Water pipe into the carburetor. Accelerator cable connected, bolted down. Vacuum pickup on. Fuel gauge, fuel pipe on and secured. Firing order 1342 on. Everything's set at top dead centre. Cam is lined up. Rotor lead number 1. Rotor arm points to plug 1, 1342. It's top dead centre there. Bottom hose on, top hose on, water in. It'll need a top up. Exhaust manifold bolted down. Spark plugs cleaned and put back in. Fuel line connected tight. I think I said that. Choke cable was left. There's nothing, it should just go. May as well stay on. Not tried it, but choke it up. Let's see what happens. Nothing yet. usual. Normally would normally be straight in. Oh great, you got a wire off the coil, you idiot. Oh no, something as stupid as that, look. Right, well it might be flooded now. The wire was off the coil. Did fire then. I normally just kick straight in. What's going on? I'd say the dizzy one's spinning. Right, so in instances like this, maybe you can still hear me. When you set your dizzy, hang on, I'm off camera, sorry, let me get a spanner. Back on, sorry, when you do set your timing on TDC, it's not necessarily the right place, it's just your approximate guide. So when I fire that up now, and it isn't quite in, just twist the dizzy, probably inboard, and then you'll get it. I think that's what normally happens. So, okay, everything is back on the car. Initially on that first crank there, should have gone and it fired and spluttered and fired and spluttered. Everything was lined up, but a schoolboy error on Pete C's behalf. Vac pipe for the servo was off, so it was drawing in loads of air to the manifold, that's why it was coughing. So I put the vac pipe back on, wiped everything down. I'm ready for the second crank test now. So it's only had a quick burst, but I'd expect now that it just goes. I've set it around 4 degrees, so I'm just on the top dead centre, and then gone inboard. Sorry, it cut off then. Inboard on the distributor, and now it should just go. Everything's set about midway, so I expect. That's what I'm talking about. So we're going to let everything warm up. We're going to get some smoke coming off this now as the exhaust manifold gets hot and the whole engine begins to heat up. I'll take the radiator cap off because it's going to have to let the air just bubble through. And we'll have to top up with water as we go. My watering can. So we'll be topping up as that bubbles up. We're going to let that warm up now. Sounds okay initially. I think I'm getting better on the tappets, they sound good. I've done them now, my first quiet tappet set. Come on! Type away in the comments and say, Pete, you've done your first quiet set of tappets. Richard Valentini, the muscles from Muscles, will be proud of us. Wow. So I think while we're letting this warm up, I'll do a bit of a tool tidy up. Then we'll get the Krypton on, and yes, come on, let's do it. You know, Pete C means business when the lab coat goes on. Yeah! Woo! Right, so let's hope this car runs a lot better now. I'll bring you those stem seals if you can hear me over the engine. So in here, this is what you're up against, folks. So just that light. And go. Right, we'll let this warm up. I'll get the Krypton wheeled out. We'll see you in a sec.
Okay, so what I was doing there, just with a spray, liberally spray like that with a lamp, I was just cleaning the rocker cover because we need to see if there's any oil leaks coming in from that. Always when you change the rocker cover gasket, you try your best to nip it up evenly, and they can leak a lot. So whilst we put that gasket on very carefully and it's very, very clean, the surfaces of the rocker cover and the cylinder head, it's best to check. So we want to get rid of any residue there. Blast it off with compressed air and that degreaser. We'll keep our eye on that one as well while we're doing the engine test. It's time now to hook up to the Krypton machine. Okay, with the Krypton machine behind me, you've seen this all before. We'll do a couple of tests. I'll do a vac test on the PCV valve, see how much vac it's drawing through the crankcase, make sure it's burning them fumes. Shouldn't be anything like the fumes that it used to burn. We'll do the spark plugs, the voltage check. That'll check our spark plug condition. It'll check our coil firing power. I don't expect anything to have changed, of course. We'll connect the vac up. We should see a nice steady vacuum reading in the green. We can do a throttle blip test and just see how good the rings are. So this connects to the vac, the intake manifold. That easy connects up. Then we've got our leads here. We get connect to the king lead. We connect across the battery. We get our cranking power on the battery when you crank. So all these things now hook up. This bunch of cables hooks up. And we'll be right back. Camera facing the other way for you. We'll face you that way right onto the screen, and I'll talk you through the readings, and we'll see how good the car is. It sounded initially good. We'll have to set the timing. We do that with the timing lamp here. We want to be going for about 10 degrees. That's ready. I can refer to previous readings on this car. So this is EKP. Timing was 12 degrees we were set at last time. This has already been done, of course, so we're going to go through it again, just see how it compares now with the stem seals. There shouldn't be any difference. Of course, we've cleaned all the valves up and decoked the engine. I might just set the mixture as well, the idle mixture, but we'll compare with what we had on this, then we'll go out on the road and give it a test. Okay, we're ready to rock here. I'll just crouch down for you. We're ready to rock with this machine. So the first thing we get is the battery voltage just as it is. That will rise up as the engine fires up. Then we'll go for alternator test, coil test, alternator test, spark plug test, set the time and then knock out a cylinder at a time and see how much each cylinder affects the RPM. That will tell you if you've got a weak cylinder. You can test which is the strongest cylinder. It's done 1, 3, 4 and 2, not cylinders 1 to 4 there. That's why those are on. We'll look for a steady reading around the green on the vac. We've got the vac gauge on the filler cap of the crankcase. The oil filler cap's got the, so we'll measure the suck down through the crankcase, make sure it's got okay with the PCV valve, and that's about it. I'll do some quick tests. What we do, we accelerate up to 2000 RPM and see where the voltage on each plug spikes up to. You'll get 4 readouts. Each one is the cylinder 1, 3, 4, 2. They're the voltage spikes at the plugs. A bad plug will make the reading look lower, so you can spot gaps on your plugs, you can spot bad HT leads and stuff like that. So watch the screen and I'll fire up. We should go. There's a kill switch here. You can never tell if it's off or on. I think that's ready to go. If you press that in, it won't start. So that's how you get your cold start cranking amps. Let's just see what happens. That's the alternator, a nice steady line, 13.5 volts, so we'll charge in. That's the points, these are electronic. That's the charge time, the discharge time, that's the dwell time, so that's okay. We get our dwell here. Always around 26 to about 50. That'll go up as you rev it. It's a fixed dwell, so as we rev it, as it stands now, these are perfect readings from what I'm seeing on there. That's absolutely perfect. Push that boom away. Now we stalled then for some reason, I don't know why. What did I do? I've disconnected a lead. Sorry, I pulled the cable off. Whoops. We'll start again. Didn't get a chance to do the vac reading either. We stay live with me. We could be out of fuel. I don't think so though. There's our vac. Very steady, the vac. That's steady. All perfect so far. Our timing then, I'll get the timing on. Timing's currently set at about 8 degrees, folks. So that's okay. Now for our coils. These are our spark plugs. And they're all perfectly even. You'll see that each one of those is a perfectly matched set. That noise is because I've got the vac on the inlet. That's pulling Okay, so the PCV check, the needle is right in the range of the PCV valve, so that's perfect. Not too much, not too little. You don't want it too much, you don't want it too little. It's in that little bracket there. You can just see the PCV scale and the needle's just in between. I'll show you that in a sec. It does create a little bit of a, makes like a funny vacuumy noise once it's been on too long, because it can't draw through, and the PCV valve starts to make a squeaky sound. Okay, a higher voltage on the spark plugs. All evenly topping out on the 8 there, 8 kilovolts when you accelerate. Back to 20. They should drop to 8, so these should drop to that line there quite evenly if everything's all okay. All normal. Idle speed we can increase a little bit. We're just at 800. I think holding our good. We can tap the idle speed up a touch. So I've gone for an 800 RPM idle. Okay, so initially everything's looking very even on the car. Take you across and have a look. You can see all our different settings. All these should be nice and even. It might be because of the frame rate on the camera, you'll get a different effect. On my screen I get 4 lines all laid over each other. That gives us each individual sparking cycle. Our volts across the coil. And I think we're knocking out a cylinder now, so we go to cylinder test. That's this one. Press this and it'll knock out cylinder 1, and then you'll get, this will tell you on the scale how much RPM it drops by. Cylinder 1 then. Cylinder 1 dropping by about 600 RPM, 700 RPM. Cylinder 2. Six, 5.5 to 6. Pretty even. Cylinder 3. Bit better that one, 7 to 8. Cylinder 3 stronger, and cylinder 1, so cylinder 4, about the same, 600, 6 to 7, 6 to 7. So I'll go through those one more time. Cylinder 1 drops by 5. Cylinder 2 drops by 5, 5.5, cylinder 3, 7 to 8, cylinder 4, 7 to 8. So we can see from that cylinders 3 and 4 are the strongest ones. Now I'll show you the PCV vac. So we just get it, it's freehand, then connect it to the filler cap. It's got a magnet on it, so it sticks on there like that, and into there we go. And you're just into that zone. There's the PCV valve zone. So we know we're doing good with our crankcase. A lot of vacuum there. This can go back on. So our idle's been set, our tick over's set at 800 RPM, our timing set at 8 degrees for now. We'll tweak that depending if we get any pinking backwards or forwards. Normally goes between 8 and 12 degrees on super unleaded fuel. Vacuum's great there. 60 kPa. I'm used to HGs, or bar is minus 0.5, 0.6. That's all right. So everything's good. 8 RPM, 820, 800, staying pretty steady. The car is ticking over really steady, and everything's holding out really smooth and steady. Look. That concludes all the tests. Everything's good on this car. So timing was done just down. Timing was done just down there because we've painted in the timing mark. That's good. We know we set the cam belt was set good. That's good. Have we got any oil leaks? Nothing showing so far for oil leaks on the new gasket on the rocker cover. That's why I cleaned that down. Nothing pouring out anyway. Everything's staying steady. No signs of any leaks. So I think we are there with this, and Pete C's first attempt, or sorry, not first attempt, but Pete C's first time when he's got valves that don't clatter. So I'm pleased with myself there. All we've got to do now is put the cam cover on and the air filter back on, and we're ready to go. One more rev up. Let's see what we get. Okay, we're going to cut that now. Okay, so using the engine kill switch there on the machine, it works because it's connected across your coil. It basically shorts your coil out. This is the best readings that I've had on the Krypton, probably of all the cars. I don't know why that is, but they're bang on, really. You couldn't really fault it. Everything checks out. It doesn't show signs that the piston wings are worn. I haven't done a compression test. That would be a good thing to do. The spark plugs are clean and gapped. It's electronic ignition. The dwell's from about 23 to 50 degrees dwell. That's set within the electronics of the unit, of the electronic unit. If you have points, you set your dwell angle by setting the gap. That's how you do it. It's the amount of time that the coil takes to charge up versus discharge. That's your dwell time. Bigger a point gap, the longer the discharge cycle, the shorter the charge cycle. That's the dwell. I think that's right. The vac stays steady, so there's no leaks. Of course, when I first did this, I was trying to start the engine with the brake servo hose disconnected, so that it basically had a fresh air vent straight into the manifold, so I had no chance. I was struggling then. That's just a schoolboy error where I didn't put one pipe on. It's just a bit of eagerness to get it going, I suppose. Radiators percolated through. You should always leave your cap off whenever you drop the water out of the engine. Leave the cap off for a while, let the stat open and let the air come out. I've never had an airlock doing it that way. Other than that, I think we are done. This engine's had a new alternator, a new water pump, cam belts obviously replaced, electronic ignition plugs are new, carburettor's new. Cam was in good order, so whoever did that, it had been messed with. I did notice as well inside the car that the oil pressure gauge has gone up. It's got an auxiliary gauge, I'll show you in a sec. It's gone up. It used to be around 40, it's now gone up to 60. That'll be because that spray bar, spray liberally. That spray bar has never had that middle bolt in it. Now, I've never had the cover off this, so this engine was as is. So someone somewhere either didn't fit that bolt or it's fallen off and consequently caused a drop in oil pressure. It's the oil pressure gauge pickup point on the side of the block is probably the same galley that feeds that centre tower on the cam tower. So consequently it's been spraying out too much. Now that it's going through the spray bar, it's up the pressure on the reading. So that's good. Crankcase is breathing normally. We shouldn't get those horrible fumes. I've changed the oil now as well. That oil was horrible, black, and it really smelt bad. And I think that the reason the oil was smelling so bad was because it's been burning a hell of a lot of stuff through those bad stem seals, and you saw those stem seals in my hand just before. So they were allowing the oil to get contaminated with fumes and all sorts. So you would have had engine fumes mixing into the oil, all sorts of unburnt stuff as well. The plugs fouling up, causing bad idling and performance. So I expect the car to run a lot better. It's time to put the camshaft cover on and the air filter and take it for a test drive, and then we're done with this. The next job then is Tina G's flex plate. Oh, I've got a heated screen been fitted to this, and I need to run the cable. This came without a heated screen. It was an export model. Although you could argue that L's did have heated screens, need to check, but it was export. It wouldn't have had it because it's hot climate. Indeed, it didn't have a heater matrix, so it wouldn't have had a heated rear. So I've got a dash switch to fit a cable to run because it's going to get icy soon, and my time's split between here and warmer climate. So when I'm here, I want to just de-ice that back window as quickly as I can. Cold weather on its way. We're into mid-November now. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to get on, clean up. Workshop's pretty tidy, but I'm going to get on, get the cam cover on, air cleaner on. We'll take it for a drive, and tomorrow we'll start that flex plate situation. I'll explain what I'm doing about that in the next video. But for now, without a road test PC, I hope you enjoyed this little mini bit of footage and the footage on the way to on the trains, a bit of train spotting with TA. Hope you like that. It's coming up now, the end of this clip. You're going to get some train spotting fun, a little bit of fun, not car related, so switch off now if you don't want to watch the PC train spotting video. It's coming up as part of this. This has been a little standalone film, a little bit of midweek bonus stuff for a Thursday night. The Gibraltar main film's coming out soon. Trailer is up. You may have already worked out what's happened, I don't know. That to come. I've got 3 hours of footage, or 3 1-hour episodes for you coming up. Lots coming up in the city For now, PC, thanks, type away, thanks for the super chats, thanks for the Patreons. For the Gibraltar stuff, we do need to push you on some super chats, PayPals, because we want to get the petrol money back. It was my holiday, and you got to pay for it. See ya. There's wires everywhere. Whoa. Hasta la vista, baby.